Recording. Alright, so I'm live and you're going to have to be quiet. So let's go to what we know, okay? Just watch. So just watch, don't write this down. So I'm recording and I would love to just send this recording to your parents and let your parents know how little you pay attention. Shh, stop. So let's go to what we know. Let's just write this. No, you don't need to write this down. Just watch. Just watch this, okay? Don't even write this down. In a right triangle, I just want you to watch. We know that the sine of an angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. We know that. We know that when we put this on the unit circle, that our hypotenuse of these triangles drawn is 1, and our opposite side is this height. This height is the y value. So we're going to change this. Sine of theta is equal to my, well, it's a y value over my hypotenuse, which is now 1. So we're going to add to our unit circle as this. Sine of the angle is equal, just simply going to be the y value of our point. It is y over r, but we know r is 1. Cosine, we know from right triangle trig that cosine of an angle is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. We know this. We've been doing right triangle trig for a while. On the circle, if we take a look at the triangles in our circle, we know our hypotenuse is 1 because it's a radius of 1, and our adjacent side is the x value if it was on a grid, okay? So it's going to be the cosine is the x value, but the hypotenuse is 1. So on a unit circle, the cosine is equal to the x value over 1. We're going to put it over r because eventually we'll take ourselves off the unit circle. The tangent value of any triangle we know is going to be the opposite over the adjacent, okay? But on a unit circle, since we're looking for points on a grid, is just going to be the opposite, which is the y value, over the adjacent, which is the x value, okay? So it's going to be the opposite, which is my y value, over my adjacent, which is my x value of the point. Now, yesterday, we only did the front half of this. We never finished this up. Well, you guys were at the point where you didn't want to learn anymore, so I just stopped, which is okay. Today, we're going to finish this up. So we turn this over. Here it is. Sine of any angle is the y value. Cosine of any angle is the x value, okay? Write that down, please. Of course, it's here as well. So instead of using a calculator, in some of these questions we really do need to have exact answers to the unit circle. Sine of 30 can be done by pushing a button on a calculator. Can be. But it's the y value. So I go to 30 degrees. Here's the biggie. Watch. 30 degrees. Every point has an x and a y value. X, y, correct? Every point has some x, comma, y value. The y value is 1/2. So the sine of 30 degrees is just simply 1/2. If you use a calculator, you get the exact same answer. But we can do it without a calculator. Cosine. So number 2, 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Cosine is the x value. So let's go to 45 degrees. There's 45 degrees. It's the x value. That's my answer. square root of 2 over 2.
Can you stop making it look like an R?
Yeah, it's a 2. Does it look like an R?
Radius.
Yeah, it's a square root. There you go. So on my calculator in degree mode, if I went cosine 45, I get a decimal. This decimal is the equivalent of square root of 2 divided by 2. Same answer, except for square root of 2 over 2 is exact. This is the better answer because this is the exact answer, okay? Now, tangent of 150 degrees. Well, tangent of 150 is here. Tangent is my y over my x. So it's going to be my 1/2 divided by negative square root of 3 over 2. Okay, tangent of 150, here's 150 degrees, is just going to be my 1/2 over my negative square root of 3 over 2. Okay, now that's a really bad answer, so I'm going to fix it. So if I have a fraction divided by a fraction, I'll just take and invert and multiply. So I flip it, right? I'm going to fix it some more. My 2's cancel. Say that, Retta? So one more time. Let me go back. 150 degrees. Tangent 150. Here's 150 degrees. The tangent is the y over the x. So here's my 150 degrees, xy. I take my y value over my x value, okay? So I'm going to take my 1/2, that's my y value, over my x value, okay? Now that's a really bad answer, Red. It's a fraction with a fraction, right? So I'm going to fix it. How do I divide fractions? Well, I invert and multiply, right? 1/2 times 2 over negative square root of 3. The 2's will cancel if I'm simplifying this, right? And I'm left with 1 over negative square root of 3. And we even learned that actually, if you rationalize it, you get negative square root of 3 over 3. Now, to make this easy for us, we want the unit circle to be a document that helps us, okay? So what I'd like to do to make this easy is I'm just going to add the tangent values in my circle, and then I'll come back to this, okay? Because I don't want to do this every time, right? I mean, I know that my sine, okay, listen carefully. My sine is the y value. My sine is the y value. The sine is the y value. The sine is the y value. My cosine is the x values. The cosine is the x values. The cosine is the x value. The cosine is the x value. But the tangent is always this divided by this, this divided by this, this divided by this, this divided by this. So what I'd like to do, taking another color, I'm going to put my tangents on my unit circle. So for me, I'm going to put my tangents in pink. And I'm going to put my tangent values on my unit circle so I don't have to do this divide every time, okay? See what I'm trying to do is shortcut this. If I put the tangent values on my unit circle, then I don't have to divide every time, okay? So we'll do the easy ones first, okay? And I'll wait for you. Okay, so I'm going to put my tangent values in pink. So, all right. What's 0 divided by 1? What's 0 divided by 1?
0.
So the tangent value here is 0. Okay, let's do another one. Here's an easy one. Square root of 2 over 2 divided by square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 2 over 2 divided by square root of 2 over 2.
1.
Good. That's an easy one, right? Let's do this one at 135 degrees. Square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Awesome, okay? Okay, here's another easy one. Negative 0 divided by negative 1. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. I knew you know that. I knew you meant that. Okay? Let's go right here at 225 degrees. Negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by negative square root of 2 over 2 is positive 1. Okay, that's my tangent value, okay? Right here. A negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by a positive square root of 2 over 2 is negative 1. Okay, now those are the easy ones. So even on my calculator, if I went, for instance, tangent of 315 degrees, I know I'm going to get 1. I know or negative 1. Watch. Enter, negative 1. It will work. But I've got it on this unit circle, so it's easier, okay? Now, let's look at the weird ones. Let's think about Cookie Monster. Think about Cookie Monster. What is 1 divided by 0?
0.
Undefined, right? Undefined. Can't divide by 0. And even on my calculator, if I try to take tangent of 90 degrees, what do I get? Quit. Domain error. There's a domain error. You can't do it. And where else would we divide by 0? Right there. So at 270 degrees, tangent is also undefined. And I can even use my calculator to show it if I did tangent of 270 degrees. Error. Domain error. Doesn't like that at all. Can't do it, okay? Now, let's do some of the harder ones, but we'll do the harder ones together, okay? At 60 degrees, square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2 is square root of 3 over 2. It really is. I could do the invert and multiply, but I'll do it for you, okay? It's just square root of 3. So the tangent of 60 degrees as a decimal is 1.73 blah, 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 but that is the square root of 3.
Wait, how did you get the square root of 3?
I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it. It's worth, ugh. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you real quick, okay? Just drop my calculator. So if it's square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, Retta, right? You with me? Square root of 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. What do you get? Do you see the square root of 3? Now, let's do the other easy one. At 120 degrees, you've got the same thing. Square root of 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2 is a negative square root of 3. Okay? Let's go to 240 degrees, which is a negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by a negative 1/2, which is a positive square root of 3. Let's go to 300 degrees, which is a negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, which is a negative square root of 3. Now, if I shift my paper back to our green sheet, we did 150 degrees. But if I go to 30 degrees, it's the same thing. 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2. We kind of did the work, and we wound up with square root of 3 over 3, right? So instead of having to do all of this work every time, let's just put the answer on a calculator or on a paper, okay? So 1/2 divided by the square root of 3 over 2 is simply going to be square root of 3 over 3. That's the tangent answer. That's the tangent answer. And of course, over at 150 degrees, we just did that one. We did that on our sheet. 150 degrees was negative square root of 3 over 3. That's the tangent value. At 210 degrees, it's going to be a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive square root of 3 over 3. That's the exact value. And way over here at 330 degrees, we'd have, there's a mistake here. There's a mistake here. I'll fix it. So, Lindsay, there's a mistake there, okay? Right, Valeria? So it'd be the negative divided by positive is a negative square root of 3 over 3. All right, how does this help us? Well, let's go back to our pink sheet, okay? How does this help us? Let's go back to our pink sheet. We've got a lot of stuff on our unit circle, don't we? But how does it help us, okay? So, let's go back to tangent 150 degrees. We find 150 degrees. There it is. There's our answer. There's the tangent value. See it? How easy that is now? Go to 150 degrees. The tangent, the answer is on the outside. For me, it's in pink, okay? And then, sine of negative 60. A sine is the y value. I know that because we learned it's the y value. So negative 60 degrees is a rotation. You watch, 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 watch. Watch. There's 60 degrees. If I rotated backwards, Negative 60 degrees is right there. Do you see the rotation? I need the y value, because it's sine. What's the y value? Negative square root of 3 over 2. So, negative square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 420 degrees. Wow, what? Well, that means I have to go around the circle more than once, right? Hear that? So it's 360 degrees plus 60 degrees, and I'm looking for the x value. Cosine's the x value. 420 degrees is going around the circle once, and then another 60 degrees is here. I need the corresponding x value, which is 1/2. Tangent of 90. Okay, those are on my circle, right? So I can go to a tangent of 90. There's 90 degrees. What's the tangent value? Undefined. Oh, radians. Oh, it's an angle, isn't it? And it's on my unit circle. So sine is the y value. Pi force. Pi force is an angle right there. Isn't pi force an angle right there? And the y value is square root of 2 over 2. Two pi thirds. Oh, I got a radian, but it's on my circle. Cosine is the x value of my point, so 2 pi thirds is there. My x value is a negative 1/2. 5 pi force is a radian, but it's on my unit circle. I'm looking for my tangent value, so I go to 5 pi force is here, and so it's 1. Sophia gets it. It's 1. Awesome. Sine is a y value. Pi is on my circle here. My y value is 0. Okay, now we're going to have to go backwards. Cosine's an x value, but to get a negative angle, I've got to go backwards. So let's see. Pi thirds. Okay, watch very, very carefully. Pi thirds is right there, right? So if I rotate to pi thirds, that's a positive pi thirds. But I want to rotate negative, so I rotate the same amount to right there. Now, I want the x value because I'm doing cosine, so the answer has to be 1/2. Last one, tangent. Negative pi force. Now, the tangents are on the outside of my circle. If pi force is a rotation here to pi force, then a negative pi force would rotate the same amount but backwards to right there. Tangent value is on the outside. It's negative 1. All right, what do you think? Okay, and I'm going to work with you. Okay, it's really pretty easy.